Dear listeners of the internet, tonight we'd like to formally welcome you to the Pixel Past, where we talk about gaming and its history. Tonight, we talk about our childhood games and the fun facts we may have learned along our ways through life. It's Baby's Guide to Video Games, so grab your controller and enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Pixel Past. This podcast will go through the history and future of gaming, from Atari Pong and the NES to the PS5 and the MetaQuest. We're covering it all. I'm your host, Hanna, and I'm with a few of my friends. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Gianna.
Hi, I'm Sydney.
I'm Viv.
Today, we are going to start this podcast by discussing our personal experience with video games. We're going to go around the table answering a few questions and just have some fun to start everything off on a high note. So the first question that I have is question 1. What consoles and games did you grow up as a kid, if any?
I had a Nintendo DS and Xbox 360 that I played a lot. I usually just played the Lego games, like Lego Harry Potter, and I really liked Lego Jurassic World. It was my favorite. And I had Pokemon X for the DS and played a bunch of games on there.
I also had a Nintendo DS. The main one that I used was the Nintendo Wii with the classic little controllers that are way too hard to click on things with.
Yeah.
Because you have to be completely still.
I forgot I had one of those too.
I also had a DS. I, again, also like to play the Jurassic World, Lego, not movies, but games. They were, my top thing. And I think I had a Wii.
Oh, yeah.
And I played Wii Sports with my
Me
mom.
too. Classic. I
was
loved
pretty
the
fun.
bowling game.
Yeah. For the longest time, I just had a Nintendo Wii, and which I always find, I know that this isn't quite the fun facts section, but I'm going to give a fun fact. The Wii was released only a couple of days before I was born. I think it was, I don't quite remember the date now, but I think it released on November 5th, and I was born November 8th of 2006.
Oh.
So I had that, and yeah, I like some of you guys, I've definitely remember playing Wii Sports, Wii, bowling, and sword play.
Oh, that one was so fun.
I'm older than the Wii.
Yeah,
I am
like
too.
that.
I'm younger than the Wii. How weird is that?
It's very strange.
We're all either younger or older than the Wii by months.
Instead of using BC and AD, just use whenever the Wii was released.
Yes, that's great.
That's when the world restarted.
Yeah.
And then a little while later, I had a 3DS XL specifically. It was one of the space design ones because there was a bunch of Wii designs. And a lot of the games that I played on that one that was technically my first Sonic game, playing Sonic Generations on the 3DS.
Oh.
And then aside from that, I've just played a lot of Mario Galaxy on the Wii. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else anybody wants to add kind of off?
I mean,
I had on my Wii, I'm really proud of this for some reason. On my Nintendo Wii, I had the first Just Dance.
whoa.
I still have it on there.
That's crazy.
Just Dance is still releasing
Yeah.
Wii Just Dance games.
Yeah, I have the
Yeah.
first one though.
I have the 2 Disney ones.
I'm really good at Make It Jingle on Just Dance.
I'm really good at Womanizer.
I remember playing Final Countdown a lot.
I had, because my parents were weird, I only had the 2 Disney Just Dances. The first Disney Just Dance had mostly animated movies, but then a couple Disney Channel songs. And then the second one had mostly Disney Channel, including Descendants. And then I also had a DDR that was just Disney.
Oh.
So that was cool.
I have the tiger on the Wii taught me how to punch.
Nice.
That's beautiful. I mean, I don't know if this counts for growing up with, but the year the Switch released, I got it, and I got Zelda Breath of the Wild with it, and that was my first Zelda game and got me fully hooked.
Fully hooked.
Gianna, you're still growing up.
I know, but like,
But that kind of does segue into our next question. What do you have now and what are your preferences in gaming? So if you want to kind of add
Okay.
on to that.
so I love Zelda games, obviously. Like, basically just any Zelda game I will play. I like a bunch of, like, indie games. Like, I'll play indie psychological horror, indie RPGs, stuff like that. Just, if it's independent, I'll probably play it. And it looks good. Like, I love One Shot, like, In Stars in Time, Omori, you know, that kind of thing.
I remember the first like actual like the first console I've had other than a Nintendo Wii was an Xbox One. I didn't get that until I was like maybe like 13. But I know I'm still kind of on the topic, but I'm kind of talking about how like I got to where I am.
Oh, yeah.
I used to play like the old Minecraft a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a PC then, but now I'm really into PC games since I have like a PC that can run Steam games. So I'll play usually either a PC game or a Switch game. I play really underrated game, by the way. Spiritfarer. Nobody knows about Spiritfarer. I've seen very few streamers do it, and any streamer that does it is a very small, like, not as well-known streamer. Someone needs to get this game off the floor. It's so good. It's so, like, well animated, and the sound design is amazing, and the game design, story design, everything's just perfect. But also play, like, of course, Animal Crossing. Like, that's just a thing of our generation. More recently, since like I think last year, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, which really made me hyperfixate on D&D as a whole. I was obsessed with it beforehand, but like now I'm even more obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
You roped me into it.
Yeah.
I will play Spiritfarer with you if you play In Stars in Time with me.
Okay.
Yippee!
But there's also I still play Minecraft from time to time. There's also Subnautica. Subnautica's also a really good one. That I wish it had more publicity, but it's been so long since those games have been released that they are not as popular as they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good though. I started playing Subnautica recently on your recommendation, and it is so good. I'm having a whole lot of fun with it.
Like, the first time I played it, I hope I'm not the only one that does this, but I don't play games for the challenge. I play it just to have fun. So
That's
a lot
fair.
of times I'll just look up walkthroughs. I don't care if I'm cheating or getting spoilers or anything. I just want to have fun and get past like the big challenges and stuff as fast as I can, so I can continue with the story. I like the story better than the gameplay a lot of the time. The gameplay just enhances the story in my opinion, so you can like interact with it like yourself.
Yeah.
I can get that because, I mean, there are times where I want to play like a puzzle game. I mean, example, I've recently been, because I had this as a kid, but I never really got into it until recently. I've started playing Super Paper Mario on the Wii, and that has a lot of like puzzles in it. And there are times where I'm like, oh, I want to solve this puzzle, but recently there was a level, and if you've played this game, you might know, there's this part where, like, you have to go to this section and you see these 3 blocks. Then you have to go back to the previous section and talk to this person and get through that puzzle because he gives you the code. Then you have to go to the next section, see another 3 blocks, go back to the previous guy in the previous 2 sections, and get the code from him again because it's a different code. And I was like, no, I'm just Googling it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Also, a lot of people that do it for the challenge, they for me, I just like, since I had like having fun with it, ever since Baldur's Gate put a mods section in it where you can put your own mods in it, I just like being OP. Like, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand how fun it is just being the strongest person there.
Yeah. I might install those mods for the next time we play together.
Yeah.
But I am a gaming masochist, so I absolutely adore difficult games like Cuphead and Hollow Knight. stuff like that.
Not wanting a challenge is like, I tried to play Cuphead. I don't know why I do this to myself. When I do get like challenging games like I think it was Omori.
Omori's not that challenging.
For me, it is.
It's a turn-based RPG. Wait, you have
no, not
Omori?
Omori. It's it's
Ori.
it's the little like white.
Oh yeah. You
I'm
mean
not
Ori
talking-
and the Blind Forest?
Yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest. That I didn't even get past like the first stage of that, and I tried to play Cuphead too. I didn't get past the frogs. I got to the frog guys and I had to quit.
Yeah.
I don't like challenging games like that where I have to like think that quickly on my feet. I like to just go
Just
at my
learn
own
their
pace.
patterns.
I like to go at my own pace.
All right. So, I love the conversation, but I feel like we're kind of leaving Viv off in the corner here, and I feel like we need to give them a chance to talk. So,
Hey guys.
what are you playing now? What are your preferences in gaming?
Currently, it's Monster Hunter. I like hunting down the monsters. No, I really like character customization, but I don't want to play like The Sims because it's boring to me. And I like action-based games. So
That's fair.
it's kind of like The Sims mixed with you get to kill things.
I mean, I know they were talking about Ori, and I think you've played Ori,
Yeah.
haven't you?
I finished the first game completely, but on the second game, pretty sure I finished it at one point and then forgot I finished it. So now I'm replaying it, but I forgot where I was and I forgot the controls. So I just kind
I love
of
that.
quit for a little bit and I'll probably get back into it. But no, I understand what she was saying about it being too difficult for certain parts, but thug it out. Play the game.
My biggest flex is that I've beat the entirety of Cuphead on Expert, and I take so much pride in that.
Yeah, that's the only reason I could see the point of playing challenging games like that is just to, like bragging rights and getting the achievements and stuff if you're a completionist.
And I feel like at that point you kind of have, I mean, and I'm not saying this in the necessarily that this is the situation for you, but just for people in general, if you want to get into that and you want to, do this, that, or the other with a game and try and complete it and it's really hard, you kind of have to, like, know a bunch of people that would understand how it's so hard. And then we're kind of like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. Like, I think it's really cool that you completed Cuphead. Like, I played that game. I barely got through, like, the third level.
I have 100 hours.
Yeah, that's really good. But then there's also just some people that might be into video games, but maybe will be friends with people that may not understand it or may not be as into it as they are, and then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of bragging rights.
The bragging rights are for me more than anyone else.
That's
I mean,
fair.
Being as someone who's tried to play Cuphead, that is pretty impressive.
I totally get that, but there are some people that might not know that.
Yeah. This one is a little bit more obscure, but like in Hollow Knight, there's a specific section called the Path of Pain, where it's basically just spinning razor blades on every surface, and you need to not die, because like the razor blades are an instant kill, and I made it through there, and I'm so proud.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I got in Ori and the Blind Forest, I got to the point where they have like the laser things that shoot like periodically. They like go on and off. I got there and I had to quit.
There were a couple of places in Ori where I had some trouble. I've completed the whole first game. I'm working periodically on the second game. And there were some parts where I needed, like, help. Like, there's a part in the game, in the first game, where you have to turn on this, like, water mill thing. And then you turn it on, and then the whole place is filling up with water. And so it's like, you're about to drown. There was so many times where I died and I had to restart. It was insane. I know that there's a possibility of playing the game with only one life. I could never.
For Ori, all of the, like, I wouldn't say, like, boss fights, but it's kind of a similar thing where it's specifically difficult because it's a big turning point, which is, like, the water mill, and then I think it's, like, someplace it fills up with lava.
That's the last area.
Yeah, and then it happens again in the second game, and I'm at that part, but, well, I finished that part, and then this big bird lady chases you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so difficult to get away from her because everything's lighting on fire at the same time.
I think
So
I
if
know
you-
exactly what section you're talking about in the second one.
Yeah, if you take too long, you burn to death. If you're out in the open too long, she eats you.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly
If you-
what section you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I've tried to go through the water. Like, I've gotten far enough to almost beat it, and then I get eaten by, like, a piranha.
That section in the second game, because, yeah, it literally is, there's this bird that doesn't like you because you have light. Because there's Ori's big thing is light. The people in the forest don't want the light, but then there's people in the forest that do want the light. And the bird is, like, trying to attack Ori, and you have to, like, hide behind these, like, panels and things. Because, like, birds in the background where you're in the foreground kind of situation. I knew what was coming because I've played multiple games with that situation, and I was just not interested. So I just Googled what path you need to take in order to do it, because I was like, no. There are types of puzzles that I enjoy doing, but then there are also parts that literally is just you doing things over and over again, was expecting a different result, and I just don't like that. Those kinds of puzzles. Yeah, exactly. I don't like those kinds of puzzles where it's you don't have to think about it. You just have to do different things in order to get it done.
I like throwing myself repeatedly at things until it works.
I kind of like more puzzles where you have to like find certain things and find a certain order of things to do, and less about doing things.
Like Portal.
Throwing yourself is, like, the main point of Ori. Like, there's an obvious way to go about things almost every time, but it's hard enough to get to that point that it just seems like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of games like Ori in Cuphead, you have to have like really good reflexes for those sorts of games. And if you can't think fast enough, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm the type of person that doesn't have fast reflexes, can't think fast enough, so I'm just sitting there losing over and over again, and it just gets tiring.
I don't know if any other like Cuphead players think like this, but I just kind of go on autopilot.
That's what I do too with Ori.
Like, I have studied the patterns of the bosses so much that I don't have to think. I'm just like, oh, that's the cue for this attack. Off we go. I just reflexes.
That's how it is with Ori bosses. Like, when you actually have to fight them, like, I think in the first game there was a big beetle looking thing.
There was.
And it just charges at you. It does a basic charging attacks.
Because I think that it was one of the first bosses that you'd get right after you get the little spirit guy to attack things. So it's a very simple fight, but it, like, progresses.
Yeah. Also, to Sydney, it is gonna be difficult at first, but the more you play the game and just attempt it, the easier it gets to do the things. So the easier you give up, the harder it's just gonna be if you go back to it.
I mean, it's more of just like, you can call me lazy.
You're lazy.
But for me, it's just like, I'll play those games and it's not the game for me.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean,
What a money waster, guys.
That's
Yeah.
how I started
Wow.
with Hollow Knight, because I started playing it. I thought it wasn't for me. I went back for it like a year later. Now it's one of my favorite games of all time.
I really like Ori just because it kind of it combines two of the things that I like. I like puzzles. And I say, I've been saying some things about some puzzles that I dislike, but that's just going to happen. You're going to get puzzle games, and you're going to be playing a puzzle game at one point in a day where you're really tired and you just want to play the game. Especially Ori, because Ori is also a platformer, and I really like platformers, and that kind of goes with my video game preferences and styles of, I have a Nintendo Switch, and aside from the Wii and the DS, that's the only system that I have. I actually have two of them. So I play a lot of platformers like Sonic and Mario, but I also, play some games like Animal Crossing and other things like obviously Ori we've talked about, and just party games in general, because Nintendo's kind of a big party game people know.
My favorite genres, I think, would be like RPGs, more specifically usually turn-based RPGs like Pokemon and Omori and stuff. and Metroidvania, because that's what Hollow Knight, and I think Ori also falls into that, because it combines like the play styles of Castlevania and Metroid, and they're usually also very difficult, which is why I like them, because I don't know, I guess I like to torture myself.
That's just your style. Which
I
is
like it.
cool.
It's fun. Oh, and Dead Cells. I love Dead Cells.
I think my favorite genre is like, because most of the time I'll play any flavor of like sandbox games where you just kind of start from the bottom. You got to build your way up towards the end. That's why I really like survival games like Subnautica, because in its own way, you kind of gain your own bragging rights by being able to say you know how to survive a Reaper Leviathan. But even still, once you get enough upgrades and stuff, that doesn't matter, because you can just like shock them and they'll go away. And it kind of like ruins it in a way. It kind of ruins the whole game, but it also makes it a little more fun. Um, then there's other sandbox games like Minecraft that I am almost embarrassed to say that I've never beaten the Ender Dragon, which, since that's kind of like almost a rite of passage for our generation.
I haven't either.
I haven't. I like sandbox games, but I like them because I like organizing things.
Yeah, it's
So in Minecraft, I'll start a new world and I'll start, building a basic house and just collecting like farm crops and materials and stuff. And then at some point I'll get bored. And then in a couple months when I get back to it, I'll restart because I want to restart my organizing. And that's what I like about Animal Crossing, especially I've kind of gotten back into Animal Crossing a little bit more recently, just because I'm collecting all the flower breeds and I'm organizing how I want to present my flowers on my island and things. I'm a big organizer.
Every time I play Minecraft, I gather tons of materials to build a cool house, and then a creeper blows my stuff up. And then I have to recount, and it's horrible because I need, like, for the houses I want to build, like, I look at tutorials and I build it based on the tutorials sometimes if I want to. But I will gather like 200 oak planks, and then a creeper will come over and destroy all my hard work, and I gotta go back to deforestation.
I'm really bad at like the creativeness of things, which I think kind of comes from my organization, if that makes any sense. Whereas like, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I'm creative, but I have to kind of have a baseline in order to branch off. Like if you give me a theme, I can do it. But if you just give me, say, make a house, I'm going to make a basic house because that fills in the requirements.
do you have the Animal Crossing add-on?
The DLC?
The DLC.
Yes.
I think that's a good, like, kind of way to describe what you're talking about, because it'll tell you, like, their dream home, and then you can just do whatever you want with it.
Exactly. It kind of gives you a theme, and you can kind of branch off of that. I mean, granted, I do kind of wish that they would give me... I mean, the whole point of the DLC is to kind of build the villagers' dream home, and as you kind of do more, you gain more abilities, and you gain more items to use in their houses. But I kind of wish that they would give me more options at the beginning, because I don't know, it's just really hard to kind of find things that match.
Well, also, I think that they kind of remedied that by, like, you can go back to your past houses and redo them.
Yeah, but then that wastes time. And do you even get paid for that?
Not everything is about capitalism, Hannah.
But in Animal Crossing it is. I
Yeah.
need to pay my debt.
Yeah, you can exchange the stuff you get in the DLC for actual, like, coins.
In the DLC you get what's called Pokey, and then after you progress in the DLC for so long, you can get
There's an ATM.
there's an ATM, and you can convert it into bells,
That's
which is
beautiful.
the general currency for Animal Crossing.
You can also convert bells into the other currency, Pokey, but nobody's doing that.
There's very little. They have a tiny shop, and the biggest benefit of the shop is that you can get these souvenir chocolates. And if you at your own island and your own villagers, if you develop a high enough friendship with them, then you can give them the souvenir chocolates, and then that'll want them to make their own island home, because the way that the game works is there's so many. I don't want to get too detailed because that would go into forever. Because I'm really into like the way games work and things. But basically, you have your island villagers, and you have your island villagers. They cannot pop up on the DLC. In the DLC, basically, there's villagers that show up on the beach along the DLC island, and you can talk to them, and then that's how you do their house. But your villagers can't do that because they're always on your island. So you have to give them souvenir chocolates. And then you obviously have villagers. Fun fact, you have your villagers on your island, but there's also, I forget how many it is, but there's also a certain amount of villagers that's kept away, like in the game, where you can't access them on the DLC or on your island because they're set aside for if one of your island villagers moves out, they either go into your campsite or, as in like the villagers that are set aside, they either go into your campsite or they're saved to go into your Nook Miles island so you can get them to move in. And I know that because there was this one YouTuber that was trying to do all of the houses in the DLC, and he had to finagle something in order to get these villagers to be done. Anyway.
Yeah, have you tried to do the turnip market?
Yes, many times. It actually does work.
I tried so hard with it. I cannot get I'm sorry, guys. I cannot get a grasp of the turnip stock market.
Use turnip.io.
I've tried stuff like that, like logging how much turnip prices, stuff like that. But I'm not consistent enough, like going to my island, because a lot of times you'll have to log it what prices it is in the morning and then what price it is at night. I'm not going to my island that often.
See, what I do is I don't do the turnip market regularly, and then for Animal Crossing players, this might be heresy, but if I want money and I want to do turnips, I will time travel. So I will sit down in my bed or wherever I'm doing it on my Switch for 2 hours and just get turnips on Sunday, time travel to Monday, time travel to Tuesday to get Tuesday's data, then look at the chart at the log and see which days is best for me to go and get data for this, that, or the other. And I'll do that probably 5 or 6 times in like 2 hours.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not committed enough.
Why aren't you committed to the turnip stock market?
You need to get the turnips.
I say as a not Animal Crossing player.
The way I'll usually get most of my income on Animal Crossing is I'll have like I'll make an orchard and I'll make a farm. And I'll just have days where I'll harvest the fruit and then I'll harvest the vegetables. But the problem is I restarted my save. The first Animal Crossing island I had was called Blammo. And then I restarted it because I had a better idea. Let me introduce you guys to Femtopia.
Yes! Yes!
Island of only women.
Ah!
And one unicorn that's obviously not straight.
I love it.
See, that's really cool. But again, going back to my organization, I'm trying my best to get all of the villager personality types. There's 8 of them, and right now I'm trying to get a big sister villager type. But I don't think for cranky villagers, I don't think there's any female cranky villagers. So I'm just thinking about, and this isn't attacking your idea. It sounds really cool, but just for me, I probably couldn't do that just because I want all the reactions.
Miss Completionist.
I do have some sort of completionist mentality for some things, but I'm not insane. Animal Crossing has so many items and things, so I have smaller completions that I want to do. All the villager personality types, all the flowers, that kind of thing.
A Hat in Time. I forgot I liked that game. I'm sorry. I just had to yell it.
That's fine.
But
it's so good.
But I restarted it because it did take quite some time for me to consider deleting an entire island where I had so much stuff and I've made so much progress. But if they just could let me like change the name of my island, that would be so much easier because I would have done that.
In the name of Femtopia.
Yeah,
must be done.
So I had to go through everything again. I can never find the stuff I had before. And it makes me so upset. Before, also, finding blueprints for the furniture I want is always so difficult. And I had like almost every type of fruit on my other island. Now I only have like 2 different types.
I can come to your island and give you the fruit. I have all the fruit. I cheated. So I've had 3 islands since I've had Animal Crossing. One with me and my sister when we only had 1 Switch. And then that was during COVID. Well, no. Yeah, that was during COVID. And then soon after COVID, it really started, and my parents saw how like obsessed we were with Animal Crossing. That Christmas, we got a second Switch. And so my sister had a new island on the second Switch. And she took her stuff with her because, I mean, we had the island. And then I used her new island to hold my stuff while I reset it on the original Switch. So I didn't have like the recipes and stuff because that's not how that works. But I had like my items and stuff and money. And so then I had a new island. And then a little while later, I wanted to reset again. And I just used my sister's island because she didn't play much Animal Crossing at the time.
Beautiful. We'll discuss later.
We can trade. And there's also such a thing as Nookazon, where you can trade between online players and Animal Crossing. I use that a lot.
Yeah, but isn't that more like risky?
Risky? How?
You can trade with like, cause they still have to like come to your island to be allowed to trade?
And?
Cause I don't know if I've just been raised to be paranoid, but still that's just random people coming to your island.
They're not real.
What are they
people.
gonna do?
Do you have anything on your island that has your real name? Or address? Or social security number?
I mean, no, but still.
I feel like it's pretty safe. I just wouldn't go to like, and this is kind of hard, but like there are some things on Nookazon where you can go to what's called a yard sale, and a lot of times those are with modded Switches where they have like infinite amount of everything. I wouldn't recommend going there because I don't know if this is true or not, but in my mind, I'm concerned that maybe going to a modded Switch, then that might do something to your game, which that probably isn't good. But besides that, there's a lot of, I mean, you really can't become, the only thing that could possibly happen is that they ask you through Nintendo to be your friend, because you can ask people that you've played previously with to be their friends with them on the Switch, and you just deny the friend request. And then if you're worried about people taking stuff on your island, just fence off like right in front of the airport, and then they can't pick up the fences because it's placed, and then they can't leave.
Just trap them.
Yeah, just trap them, and then they can't go around your island. So a lot of people, if they trade a lot, do that. So that way you can't like walk around and stuff. But you can also kick them off quickly. Like you can you can either go to the airport and close the gates, and then it kicks them off. Or honestly, if you're that worried, if like they're doing something that you don't want them to do, you can just shut off your game, and then it'll boot them back. You just won't have it save. But yeah, we can talk about that later. Okay. Anyway, so let's go to our final question. What do you guys know about the history of gaming? And do you have any weird facts about games themselves, or the history of gaming, or this, that, or the other? Bring it down to a minimum. We are at 36 minutes. Like, I love your enthusiasm. We also want everybody to talk.
Okay. I immediately forgot. Oh, yes, I have fun fact. I have Zelda fun fact.
Okay.
Because that's the fun facts I have.
Cool.
So you know how Mario's last name is Mario? And Luigi's last name is also Mario?
Luigi Mario, yes.
Link's last name is also Mario.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. I think it goes back and forth, like, between being Link and Link Mario.
That's really funny. That would make sense, though.
Yeah.
It's like it's Nintendo. But I feel like at that point, they just need to have it be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Kirby is Kirby Mario.
Kirby is a creature.
They still have a name.
Their name is Kirby, no last name.
Kirby Mario.
No.
Kirby Mario.
There's
I'm going to make it
else.
canon. Kirby Mario now. I say so.
And Zelda's...
I don't care about Nintendo. I say Kirby's last name is Kirby Mario.
And Zelda's last name is Hyrule. Because royal family, whatever.
That's fair.
The only thing I know about gaming history is that like one of the first games was like ping pong. That's all I know.
Ping pong, it's just pong, Sydney.
Yeah.
yeah.
See, that's how little I know.
The actual first game though was it was like a knockoff version of Asteroids.
It can't be a knockoff if it was the first.
That's true. That's
Everything else was a knockoff of it.
That's true. But like it was Asteroids but not Asteroids, and like they made it on a computer in their college. And then a company said, that's a good idea.
Did they steal it for like Galaga?
No, it was for Asteroids.
I didn't know that, actually. I kind of agree with Sydney. I mean, okay, well, are you meaning first game in general, so like including arcade games, or are you meaning first like console? Because
No,
like
first.
Pong was like a separate console itself.
Pong was first console.
First concept of a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For the first console was Pong, though, Sydney, so you are right in that. The Atari Pong was its own system. Think about that for a second. A console only had one game.
Mm-hmm. And, shoot, I was going to say something. Oh, and Doom was the first game that could be run on a computer, like a home computer, because they couldn't figure out how to make the screen smoothly rotate for a long time before that. And the way the devs did was they made a bootleg Mario and tested the screen with it. I don't remember how they eventually made it transition smoothly. I think it was something with the processing, but they did. And the day Doom released, like 60,000 copies sold.
That's really cool.
The farthest back in gaming history I can think of is when I like, because at my grandma's house, my cousins would come over too. She had this like really old gaming console that had like the controller with the other like hump in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's like these little like orange controllers.
The N64?
N64 is blue.
But it still had they had multiple colors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But you're talking about it had the 3 handles?
Yeah, and they had in the game that you want to play, you kind of like have to just like.
That's a cartridge. That was very common at the time. Yeah, you're talking about the N64, and it was, Gianna, it was very popular to have different colors of not only controllers, but also consoles. There was one that was see-through.
But yeah,
I remember that.
I just remember mostly watching my cousin play Star Fox and like 007. We tried, me and my other my younger cousin tried to play with him, but he always just like, because he's been always like more experienced with us because he's older than us. He's had more time to like do video games.
Yeah.
And there was also that was the first time I played Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart 64?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only played one world though.
Do you have anything to add?
The only thing I had to add was that I looked up what the first
fine.
gaming console
this
was.
one I kind of thought was iffy for people. I just know a lot about gaming history.
I'm an encyclopedia.
I'm also encyclopedia, thanks to Scott the Woz.
Thanks to hyperfixation.
So the
That
only
too.
thing I know is that the Odyssey was the first gaming console. It was called something specific, but I know it was an Odyssey.
Wow.
That's all. That's all I know.
I
All
know
my
that
knowledge.
Mario was called Mario because of Nintendo's like landlord. Also, Charles Martinet, the Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, and Wario's voice actor. They used to have like a promotional like window that had like a screen with Luigi on it, or maybe it was an animatronic. I don't remember, but they would just have Charles Martinet be watching it through a camera and like talking to people.
Yeah,
as
I know
Luigi.
what you're talking about. They had it was basically a TV screen.
Yeah, I
and
thought
it
so.
was an animation, and I'm guessing Martinet probably was pressing buttons as he was saying things. Yeah, they did it for Mario and they did it for Luigi.
Yeah,
too.
the Luigi one is more famous now though because he was so funny.
Yeah.
My favorite color is purple.
You were talking about Nintendo. I also I am an encyclopedia for many weird video game facts. Fun fact: Nintendo was originally a card dealer. I have a lot of fun facts. Like I've said that a lot. My bad.
I also have a bunch of fun facts about the Miku games.
Go right ahead. We can do one or two.
Yes. Okay. So
I don't want to hog it all.
just a little bit. I gotta get my fix. So the first
Get all
Miku,
your Hatsune Miku out.
I'm pretty sure the first Miku game was Project Mirai for the Nintendo DS. And
Oh, that's early. Okay.
so it was released on the DS.
Wait. Sorry, was it 3DS or DS?
I think 3DS.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured, but I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. So like there you could like play the songs, the popular songs at the time. It was like think like pressing like dots and stuff. And one of the characters that was also popular at the time was called Gumi. She had green hair, and she has not been featured in a game since. Even though she's still very popular. She's just gone. But then Project Diva came out with a bunch of Project Divas came out because a lot of the games share that title. Then Project Sekai, which is for the iPad and a bunch of stuff. They're all rhythm games. They just have different ways of playing it and different characters and stuff.
I know that the one app you were showing me was Sega. Is it all Sega? Or?
Yeah, it's all Sega.
Okay.
Usually published on a Nintendo thing or on PC or both. But the Project Sekai, the newest one, is only on like iPads and tablets and stuff.
Yeah. That is actually kind of cool. I mean, I'm trying to think. I feel like I had one that I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember what it was. So instead, I'm going to just talk about who all, and this is just, I don't know if this is something that other people may know or not know, but who all knows about the origin of Sony?
As a whole?
The PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, I know. I read about it.
Anybody else?
I mean, if we're talking about the PlayStation, then I've only ever used an Xbox One.
Okay. Well, fun fact, Nintendo and Sony were working together on a console. I believe they were working on the GameCube?
Well, they were working on the Nintendo and Sony were working together. They were going to make the Nintendo PlayStation, but Nintendo cut them off, kept what they had, and made the GameCube.
Yeah, and then Sony was spiteful, and they made the PlayStation, and we're going to talk about more of this in another episode, but I thought it was really cool that, Sony became this really big, they were there was Sega too, and Microsoft kind of built off after Sony, but they were one of Nintendo's first real rivals after Nintendo pretty much dominated the video game market. Yeah, we still had Atari.
Yeah, but
And the Odyssey and stuff, but
those weren't as popular.
no, they were not at all as popular because they weren't as technologically advanced as Nintendo was.
But it's so funny to me that Nintendo cut off their partnership with Sony in favor of partnering with Philips, a much worse company that isn't a thing much anymore, and made some super crappy Zelda games. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous and not canon.
I don't understand. Nintendo has dug themselves into a hole multiple times doing that. But they're not the only ones. I think Microsoft did that too. I mean, I think one of Nintendo's big problems was selling off Rare.
Yeah.
They were, for those who don't know, they were the ones that did. They're mostly known for the Donkey Kong games, a couple of the original, Donkey Kong.
I love Donkey Kong.
Yeah, they were the ones that did they did Donkey Kong. They did what's it called? What's it called? Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
And Banjo and Kazooie.
Well,
And Banjo Toozy? Was that an
I
official
don't
one?
know.
I don't remember if I heard that was an official game or if that was a rumored game.
I don't
There's
know.
so many old games that I hear about, and I'm like,
I'm
it's so much that I've just been wondering which ones were real and which ones were fake.
I'm just waiting for the sequel to Hollow Knight.
I really want to play Conker's Bad Fur Day.
It looks so funny.
I've seen like the like cutscenes and stuff, and I'm like, this was on a Nintendo GameCube? Or no, it was a 64.
I thought it wasn't Nintendo. I thought it was like
It was originally released on. It was
Oh.
only released on Nintendo, and then when Microsoft bought Rare, they tried to have some. They tried to bring him back. One time he was a tech demo for like where he is like the little you could put like look at the screen and they, like the little characters in your world.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
a tech demo for that, and they like botched him. It was awful.
that's beautiful.
But I think if nobody has anything necessarily to add, I'm not going to go babbling on about different things
Yeah.
forever, because that will take forever. So, anybody have any final closing remarks before we do kind of a recap and then end the episode?
I do not.
My closing line is, I'm really proud of Roblox and how far it's come. I would go on a whole spiel about that, but we don't have time.
No, that's really funny because we've been talking about consoles and you're just like Roblox. That's great.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
Viv, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Okay.
So we kind of talked about, like I talked about my relationship with the Wii. A lot of you have talked about like the DS and the Wii as well. You were talking about Xbox, right, Sydney?
Yeah, I think everyone in this room has had a Wii.
Which makes sense because that was released right when we were born.
Yeah.
And so that was also was, designed to be one of the biggest family-friendly consoles, which was one of the first times that they tried to they were always trying to kind of go for families, but they were really trying to go for everybody. The gamers, the families, the kids, and the old people.
Yeah, I feel like that's just
Not the old people.
I feel like that's just a shared experience for our generation. Like, you either had a DS, you had a Wii, you had both, or you had none.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We also talked about like our preferences, a lot about puzzle games, I realized, and a lot of difficulties in games. Then we talked about our varying levels of history in video games, which is fine. The whole point of this podcast is for all of us to kind of learn, and I honestly, it's just to kind of give me a chance to talk about it because I can nerd out about it. I watched too many Scott the Woz videos, like way too many, and he literally made a song called Stupid Nintendo Games, and he talks about Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. He talks about everything, and I just love learning about all this stuff. Anyway, so next time we're going to be talking about the first generation of video games. This will be the Odyssey, the Atari Home Pong, the Coleco Telstar, and a lot of other ones in the first generation. But until then, this has been the Pixel Past. I'm Hannah.
I'm Gianna.
I'm Sydney.
I'm Viv.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.